Now, you can know everything in the world, sport, but the only way you're finding out that one is by giving it a shot.
Hamartia is an ancient Greek word. Its definition means to miss the mark. In the Bible, it stands for sin. The word's connection to archery gives its meaning a symbolic depth. So often when we think about sin, we only think about what we're doing wrong. But hamartia means to miss the mark, which implies that we have to have the proper mark in place, or have a goal in mind. This is the reason why we set goals, and also why it's important to recognize the process in setting the correct goals. This is a part of the effort to manage the complexity of our lives and to ultimately have an impact on our community. SMART goals are ones that we have said that are specific, measurable, attainable, repeatable, and timely. And I'm putting forth 6 concepts that explain why that implementation of SMART goals is a crucial part of becoming an effective self-leader and therefore transforming ourselves to be able to lead others. Specific goals give us a target to aim at. They give us a broad direction of where we're heading and where we have been. The feedback that we obtain from where we have been and where we have been heading is an integral in measuring and reformulating our goals. Attainable goals are ones within the realm of possibility. But the most important aspect to attainable goals is that they also contain the appropriate challenges that keep us moving forward with momentum. Nothing feels better than accomplishing that difficult task and in turn being prepared to tackle the next one. The next goal may in fact be obtained through the same repeatable process that we can use Eventually, these repeatable processes lead to habit. So let's dive a little deeper into each one of these segments. So direction. We need to know where we're heading, if not for any other reason than to realize when we've missed the mark. I would argue that the lack of a carefully articulated direction is a cause of many undesirable outcomes that we face in self-leadership or leadership as a whole. Vague and foggy goals only lead to vague and foggy results. Direction implies motion, progress, going forward. Progress often requires change. Let's be honest. Some of us are completely comfortable with the narrow impact that we currently have and the narrow amount of responsibility. Direction tells us where we're going. And feedback tells us if that where we're going is right. This is why our goals have to be measurable. It tells us when we're not doing the right thing. To tell us when we have missed the mark, when we have not hit the bullseye, when maybe we're not even hitting the right target or shooting at the right target. Let's not underestimate the difficulty and natural desire to not define our direction so as to not also define our failures. That's why feedback is important, for you to listen to it, be attention, be self-aware. This direction, it's got to be challenging. If we fail too many times in a row, then it might be easier to not set out at all, to have no goals, be nihilistic. But with the intentional effort to aim at attainable goals, the accomplishment of succeeding provides enough resiliency to keep us going despite the chance of failure. It justifies the harmful and often oppressive nature of reality. These attainable goals must also be appropriately challenging. The challenge can't be outrageous, something like that you want to be the leader of the free world or something. For you set that high of a challenge, you may not even be able to be a leader of your free world in your own mind. It's the challenge that keeps us interested, and it's the challenge that keeps us occupied. It's the challenge that gives us meaning to want to hit the target and to not fire blindly and to keep stepping up to aim at the target no matter who's pushing us out of the way. Momentum. It's the constant striving and acceptance of challenge and responsibility that gives us the momentum to move us. With a specific goal set and a target that is appropriately challenging to hit, we can then strive for precision. Then, when we just miss the bullseye, we can draw back again with the opportunity to improve. Or sometimes it gives us the opportunity to aim at a completely different target. Now that we've accomplished the one thing, we can move on to something a little bit more challenging. We don't know the limits to momentum, but we've all felt when we have the snowball rolling forward and not backwards. We become unstoppable. And when we start to build momentum with continued success, we can start to conceptualize the process that we've been using all along. Then that process might not just work for the archery, but we can assimilate it into other sports, relationships, businesses, most importantly our lives. It's this self-discovery of the process of a pattern that leads to profound changes in our ability to lead ourselves and to lead other people. This is what we call intellect. It's useful conceptualization of knowledge. Ultimately, we all want to be at a place where the process of smart goal making and self-progress becomes a habit, because good habits lead to equally good successes. It is habits such as defining our goals that keep us aiming at the right target, hitting the right target, and therefore avoiding hamartia. It keeps us out of sin. From this level of analysis, nothing could be more important than setting smart goals. So to conclude, if you want to lead the others, you're going to have to learn how to lead yourself first. This is not an easy process, and in fact, it can be very hard on people to define the sin that they're currently living in, to actually conceptualize all of the negative things that they're causing in their life and the people around them. Everyone knows this, and everyone knows this who's attempted to break a bad habit. Bad habits exist because of the inverse process of smart goal making, which implies that if you're not making goals, your goals are actually the opposite of what you should be making. However, becoming self-aware and slowly improving the targets that you're aiming at will incrementally lead to the level of success that you would have no choice but to think a higher power must be involved. Because when we have the momentum to move forward, we won't be able to believe how successful we can become. Ourselves are hard enough to manage, let alone helping the people who are following you manage themselves. Think about that. We can hardly manage our own life. Try going to the gym or sticking to your New Year's resolution. Ultimately, leading people astray, especially ones that have trusted you, is a very real possibility for the leader who's not self-aware. This is why you need to be your own boss first and to integrate smart goal making as a habit. Then, with the grace of God, we can make a conscious effort to stay away from sin. Thank you.